Have you ever noticed how deeply rooted society has become in blaming? We love to blame. We spend half our waking hours on Facebook, commenting and arguing about politics and community affairs and telling everybody what they should do differently. And Devorah is right, the light has to come down. If you're willing to join this journey that I just discovered for myself, put your hand out and point. And see how easy it is to hold your hand out just like this. I can hold it like that for hours on end. But when you turn your hand in, like this, pointing inward, the wrist starts to feel uncomfortable, and I've got muscles I didn't know existed. Why? Why is it so much easier to point out and tell everybody what they should do differently? Because it is so much easier to tell someone else what they should do better than to face our own shortcomings. And I was no different. Blame was my middle name. I was the queen of the blame game. And I blamed everyone. I didn't even know it. Just last week, a couple of hours after I agreed to do this, and I was pacing back and forth in my room, thinking about what I'm going to say, and mostly why did I say I'm going to say. And then I realized I got to go to carpool, and I'm late to carpool. And anyone who goes to my kid's school knows you need to chug a glass of wine to survive that carpool. And if you're running late, you need to chug a whole barrel of wine to get through the carpool. And I was late. So I ran out my complex, and right outside my complex, I have to take a U-turn. And as I'm getting into the left lane to make my U-turn, the car in front of me changed his mind. He doesn't want to go on the U-turn anymore. Now he's going to the right, but he also blocked the left turning lane. And I started to beep and bleep. Really, dude? You're not going to the left lane anymore? And I had to start thinking of it. What am I going to tell Nata? Why am I late again? And then I had no choice but to wait because there was nowhere to go. And as I sat there, I literally started laughing out loud at the ridiculous fact that I was blaming this poor guy for me being late. I blamed everyone. I pointed fingers everywhere. Blame my teachers if I didn't do well in class. You don't know how to teach. Didn't matter that I skipped half of them. I blame my parents. I'm never going to teach in a school. I'm never going to have a school. It ruined family life. I have 3, by the way, 3 schools. And I'm never going to say that to my kids. I'm going to be a different mother. Guess what? I open my mouth and out comes my mother. But my kids are pretty great, so I'm sticking with that game plan for now. And I blame my kids. I told you to go to the shower 3 times. Don't make me get up and come there. It will not end pretty. Little kids can make me do things. Or this one. It's 7:15 a.m. and carpool is in 15 minutes ago. This guy, here are your socks. Mommy, I don't like those socks. Oh, honey, I'll get you another one. Here are your socks. We really need to go. Those socks are itchy. Kid, you're driving me crazy. In hindsight, I wonder how mature, educated, responsible adults who run businesses and organizations somehow let 2 and 5 and 7-year-old tantruming little kids control our decisions and our choices. How did that happen? I blame my husband. I had a long list of things he should do different. If you would A, B, C, then I would X, Y, Z. No, I'm not going to give you the details. I'm not hanging up all my dirty laundry up here. Even though it does kind of feel like a priest confession booth here. And I blamed my abuser. There's not enough oxygen in the room.
I'm so tired. I just want to sleep. That's really all I want. I just want to sleep. I am so tired. I can't remember the last time I really slept. When the world goes dark and the room goes quiet, my head starts to buzz. And everything goes into overdrive and the voices don't shut up. And the emotions, they're so immense and so intense, they make no sense. You did this. I'm never gonna be that normal person. I just wanna look in the mirror and be normal. You took that from me and I'm never gonna get it back. Most of all, I pointed up. Ooh, I blamed God for everything. I got so good at it. I blamed him for the littlest things and the biggest things. The parking spaces. I'm in a rush. I need milk, for God's sake, for the kids' breakfast. You couldn't get one car. You couldn't hook me up with one parking space? The whole block has not one parking space? There are 20 people upstairs waiting for Shabbat dinner. This baby needs to fall asleep now. Shabbat dinner. Who do you think I'm doing Shabbat dinner for, God? You. I don't need it. It's for you. Can't you just make this baby fall asleep? Why do you have to make everything so difficult? Everything is so difficult. And why did you choose me for that big, nasty elephant in my life? What's wrong with me? Why don't you like me? What did I ever do? And if I'm that worthless, what'd you put me here for? Why would you put me on this earth and then forget about me? Why would you leave me here to rot? I don't want to be here if you don't care about me. I don't want to be here. If you ask me what color God was, it was gray, all kinds of, I almost said shades of gray. All kinds of gray. Kind of imagine God looking out at the earth in his binoculars. Watch those war movies and they give you the binoculars view of the soldier and it kind of like scans territory and zooms in. Kind of imagine God flying over the earth and zooming in on Bora Bora. Oh, cool, everybody's relaxing. They're good, they deserve it. Like, oops, 770, nice, good stuff. Or not. And me, he just flew over me. I never seemed to be in his view. I wish I had something very earth-shattering to tell you, like I booked a flight and then I missed it and the plane crashed in the Pacific Ocean. And then I would say, cool, I knew he knew about me. See? The only thing that makes sense about that story is that in my family, we always miss our planes. Nothing else. One day I came home and I was tired, I was overworked, I was exhausted, and I was fed up. I was so resentful for having to give everything I have, all my energy, all my love, and all my care to everyone and their kids, their grandmothers, and their problems. By the time I got home and walked through my own front door, there was nothing left for my own little loves. I said, enough. I'm not doing this anymore. Couldn't change the circumstances of my life. It is what it was. But I said, if you're going to do that, if you're going to leave them every day, all day, then you're going to do it and you're going to be the best at it. Not better than someone else, the best that I can be at it. So I started to learn. I went to workshops and I went to schools and I watched talks and I read piles and piles of books, piles bigger than my laundry. And I have 5 kids. There's a lot of laundry. Kids who don't wear their pajamas more than once. You could, by the way, if you take a shower. And I started to notice something. Slowly, I started to realize that I started to point my finger in. I started to own things. One day I was reading a book, a very popular self-help book with a rather scandalous title, the kind you have to keep in a black bag if you have kids at home. And I had clipped a page for my husband. And I said, hey, read this. This is really good stuff. He read it, threw it back at me. He said, Chanie, open the Tanya. It's all there without the vulgarity. I said, no, it's not. I learned the Tanya. I went to school. I went all my life. I know. I learned this stuff way before I met you. It's not in there. So check again. It's there. And the more I became willing and the more I learned, the more I realized that he was right. It had all been there my whole life. And I don't know if I didn't hear it or if I didn't want to hear it or if I wasn't ready to hear it, but it was there. Here's what I learned. I learned that to be a dugma chaya, an example, words that we learned in school and heard every single day, was going to be more than the length of my skirt and the height of my socks. If I wanted my children to become the list of things that I wanted them to be, I was going to have to show them. And the most important time and the most important way I'm going to show them is when someone wrongs me. What am I going to do about it? When someone is rude to me, when someone cuts me off in traffic, when I argue with someone, that's when I will show them. Wow, I really walked a lot. I learned that tracht gut wird sein gut, think and it will be good, is going to mean a lot more than sweaty plastic bracelets and really cute songs by popular artists. Because I hated when they would say that. We would bake challah and give charity and wear those bracelets, and then the sick person died almost every time. So stop saying that. Stop saying think good, it will be good, because half the time it wasn't good. What happened to me was not good. Nothing in there was good. But I started to realize that the good in the thinking good was going to be where I wanted it to be good, where I put my focus. Because when I focused on what I wanted, even in the biggest challenges, or when the challenge was a behavior in front of me, I learned from it. I grew from it. I taught it. And that's a good thing. I learned about free will. I hated free will. I don't like when they would say, Hashem has given you free choice. Really? Because I know someone who ate well, sleep well, exercised, not me. I go from the couch to the kitchen and back. It's exhausting. And then they died. Clearly, we don't make choices. It's like Hashem made his big game board of life, and he puts these little pieces inside. You're going to go here. You're going to go there. What choice is that? I don't have a choice. You think I chose to have to be stuck into the category of survivors? I don't like free will. But now I know that free will means that I may not choose the circumstances of my life clearly, and I will not choose the deck of cards that life has for me, but I can choose how I want to play them. I own my choices. I decide when I want to let that child drive me crazy. And I need to decide when I need sleep. You took enough and you can't take everything. You can't have everything. I do have free will. I can choose to let this break me. I can choose to let it own me and define me, or I can choose to do something else with it. I do have a choice. I teach my kids, my students, my husband when he lets me, that our emotions are ours. And no one can make me angry. And no one can make me feel little. I started to realize that mind over matter means that I have to understand what I feel. I have to understand where it comes from and then decide what to do with it, to respond instead of react. Most of all, I learned and I finally understood why the Alter Rebbe, the author of the Tanya, holds the Beinoni in so much higher regard than the righteous tzaddik. Because every single day is a struggle. Every moment is a struggle. Every time we come across something, we have to decide. We have to think. And it is hard. Not every time is it a win. I have a lot of days, my friend, she calls them the cancer days, when I wake up in the morning and I say, today is a good day to get cancer. If I'm sick, I don't have to worry about anything. Nothing matters. I don't have to have this stress in my head. I have greater issues to think about then. And then it'll all go away. Gets that bad sometimes. But when I get up and I take ownership of my own life, when I get up and I make my own choices, it's a win. And that win can carry me through so many bad days. That's why he's greater than a tzaddik, because it's a struggle every single day. But when he takes ownership, when he knows that no one can make him do anything, no one's going to decide for him, he's going to decide, that's a win, greater than anything else. I got to know two things about my anger with God, because I have a lot of it. One, I cannot use my abuse or my anger with God for any of the other reasons I am as an excuse to cut him out of my life. Because I had to deal with God. Clearly, you don't care about me. You don't care about me. I won't care about you, and we'll call it a day. I don't even like you anyway, so I don't know why I dedicated my whole life to teaching the whole world about you. You don't like me. I don't like you. I'm done. Now I know that my anger with God is just an excuse. It's a cop-out for me not to have to do what I know I have to do because it doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel easy and it doesn't feel comfortable. And second, I don't feel embarrassed about it anymore. I am angry with him. I have demands for him. But you know where I learned that from? From the Rebbe. He had little kids screaming, Ad Masai, until when, until when? His little kids in the rallies would sing, we want Mashiach now. No, please, no, thank you. Now, when we deserve it, do we deserve it? Now. We want it and we want it now. That's a demand. Doesn't come from such a nice place. So I have demands. I'm angry at him, and that's okay. Now, when I feel this small, tell myself first, it's no wonder you feel so small. If you're going to blame everybody else, it's no surprise he can't find you. You're hiding in everybody else. Now, when my days are really tough, I do something for someone else. I do something that'll make God smile. That's how I tell him, here I am. That's my story. Thanks for listening.